I mean, I was thinking for all the people who actually bought from you, they'll now be knowing that they're on national TV, having paid a tenner for something that you paid £2 for from a cash and carry. They're going to be a little bit embarrassed, but you won't be able to see it in their faces.
The joy of the food task course was that it was taking you even more north than you've normally been. And you did give away a certain lack of, you know, because you did well, but it was despite your concerns about there being a potential language difference.
Do you think people like speak like a Scottish language, like just a pure Scottish language? What if someone comes to the stand and they speak Scottish to us? Will you be able to understand what they're saying? Oh God, Jenna, stop!
Have you been to Scotland?
There is an actual language, and it's Gaelic.
Gaelic, Scots Gaelic. Yeah.
Yes, Hockananen. That is Scottish. So I was hoping someone was going to go Hockananen to me and speak Scottish. Hockananen.
Yeah.
Don't ask me what it means, but.
So what would you have done if somebody come up and said, would you be scanning their eyes for whether is this meant as an erotic gesture? Is it meant as a fighting thing? What?
I would have said, have a free casserole.
Yeah. Think about that famous Jenna charm, though. It can be switched off just as quickly as it's switched on.
Is you in a chutney, sir?
Oh, no, I won't, thank you.
OK. I don't want to, like, sort of put my face straight now. I think, yeah, that's a bit of the charm. I was like... I was going into the next thought process, like, right, well, if they're not happy, I'll go with someone else. They seem a bit happy, and then switch it back on again. It's hard to keep the charm up all the time.
You weren't keeping the charm up all the time. That's the whole point of what we just showed you, is that the charm suddenly went, vump, gone, right? You're waiting to unleash the charm, which is very carefully rationed by you, and then somebody goes, no, you're not getting my charm anymore. You don't want our chutney, so no charm for you.
She's smiling now, but when she's done this show, she'll be going outside going, bastard, bastard.
Charm for you. Yes, no. Let's find out what Lord Sugar and your former colleagues have to say about you.
Jenna totally missed the plot on this task. Created a stupid video. Nothing wrong with a bit of humour, but went too far, degraded the product.
Finally, we have our fine English sparkling wine.
Jenna told me it was classy. It certainly wasn't classy. And she took responsibility overall for the video.
She has to finish a point. If it's in her head, she will continue through the point and bulldoze through whoever's speaking.
She was totally responsible for this terrible video that she produced, and it showed me that she had a total lack of understanding of the project, and that's why I fired Jenna.
Well, at least it was only with that task,
Yeah. What have you learned from the process, by the way?
I've learned a hell of a lot. I'd do it again, which sounds a bit mad because it's the most stressful thing, but I think it's an amazing experience, and I've learned to probably, if I do have an idea, not to be, obviously, a risk taker and go too much, but if I have an idea, I'd go with it now, and I think it gives you... Although I'm really disappointed I didn't get to the final, because, you know, I did want Lord Sugar to be my partner, and I was, like, ready to give him my idea and go into business with him. But I think now it's maybe more determined to sort of do it on my own and sort of get there.
OK, cool. Lucy, how did you set up your business?
It was a happy accident, really. I wasn't intending to have my own company, but I was quite young. I was a student at the time, and I was working at lots of events, and I was promoting a new luxury vodka that had just come to the UK. And this guy came out and started chatting to me about the product, and then he sort of said, what do you think about this brand and what we're doing at this event and the sponsorship? And I sort of said, oh, I think it's fine, you know, I think it's great, but, you know, if it was my brand, I probably would have considered X, Y, Z. I might have been a bit more creative. I would have tried to have made it a bit more of a luxury experience for people, and, you know, just was continuing blagging and saying what I thought. And he sort of said, oh, you know, you seem to have quite a lot to say for yourself. This is actually my brand. So I was like, OK, let's just turn this into an opportunity. So I said, oh, really? Well, you know, perhaps we could have a discussion, because I'm just about to set up my own agency doing marketing specifically for luxury drinks brands. And he was like, OK, it's very interesting. Immediately went home and registered a domain on the internet so I could get a professional-sounding email address, and shot him an email saying, there's a great opportunity. I think you should be involved in a really prestigious event that I knew was coming up. Why don't you let me negotiate some sponsorship for you and run that for you? Because I think I do a really good job for the brand. And he said, all right, you know, give it a go, and we'll see what happens from there. And they were my first client. And it grew from there. And then, you know, sort of attention to detail, hard work, did a good job, and then lots of clients started coming my way.
Yeah, well, work begets work, I suppose, in that field more than anything else. Adam is picking up skills every week in this process, even if sometimes it's not entirely clear that he understands the job titles.
My role and responsibility is choreographer once again. I'm choreographer.
Adam's suddenly become an expert on wine tasting, wine pouring, wine holding, glass holding.
They all hold by the stem and the base. They don't want any of this. It's not this, it's not this, it's not here. It's this, OK?
Yeah, I do have to bite my tongue, but I'm not going to work with him forever, so it's fine.
That's going to upset people. Perfect.
I was thinking you can...
Because you can still see it in the reflection. I hate that.
He's decided he's a choreographer, which is quite funny because there's no dancing.
Yeah. Cheers. Do we need any choreography doing, any directing?
I do know about him.
See you now.
You know what choreography means?
It means making sure there's everyone in the right place and knows what they're doing. It does.
No, it doesn't.
I've checked with everyone.
Just every week there's another new, exciting experience for Adam. There's a whole world that he wasn't aware even existed. Have you been impressed, Andy, with that?
He's a life choreographer. That's what he is. If he doesn't win, he goes back to being a market trader. He won't call himself a market trader, really. He'll be a fruit and veg choreographer. And he'll be there, you know, going, anybody for grapes? Anybody for grapes? I've got a melon. I've got a melon.
I think most of the candidates are a bit out of their comfort zones with a lot of the tasks.
Yeah.
Because it's not their business. But I do think sometimes as a northerner you can feel a bit more intimidated. So he has to sort of get it out there because he imagines people are thinking it anyway. I mean, but he did really well with the art task last week.
Yeah.
He sort of got into it and threw himself into it. And this time with the wine tasting, I mean, I loved it. He's having a sip. Oh, Granny Smith's Christmas cake. I mean, it was a stream of consciousness, you know, the roller skates, mattresses, cats. He was just saying words, but good, you know, at least he had a go. I
like the fact he always has a go. You know, he's a hard worker and he's a nice guy, I think, at the end of the day. And I'm kind of warming to him. I've watched, you know, with some of the tasks, I've just thought, what are you doing? But actually, his heart's in the right place and he's making a real effort.
Oh, there's definitely, like, I mean, he has had an arc, as they say, a narrative arc from when all women hated him to this point where he's at now, where people are going to go, yeah, exactly, because we put him to more and more things to which he goes, oh, I don't know.
I don't know, there seems to be a lot of sexual tension between him and Jade at the moment, doesn't there? You know, you're wondering if the two of them should just get it on, you know. Next time they get sent out of the boardroom together, you know. The trouble is you could never have a threesome with Jade, could you? Because she would never be able to decide who else to bring into the bedroom.
We do, by the way...
Is that mental image not playing well with your mind there?
It's not, God, it was nothing to do with Jay, but Adam. It's more the
And also, as well, if you're going to have sex with Adam, he'd probably do that thing like he did earlier on where he'd go, are you sure you can have sex? It's very complicated.
I'd almost do it to Adam just in order to go, you're out of your comfort zone now, right? We were going to show you one sequence of images from this, but there are broadcasting regulations that you have to be very, very responsible in the portrayal of a lifestyle that could be mimicked by people. You can't show that this is, you know, in any way aspirational, that would make you more socially successful. Basically, alcohol consumption, when represented on television, has to be done with a great deal of responsibility. So it's a heavy heart that we present Adam and Tom's Big Day Out.
If you just take a glass each. It's been a great day. Me and Adam have had a lot of fun.
Should the project manager be having fun?
If we do that too vigorously, it will go down the wrong way.
Strategy. Hang on. Too much wine.
We've really got to grips with the English wine sparkling. Sorry. Really got to grips with English wine sparking.
I've got a few glasses of wine now, so I'm really looking forward to going home tonight and having a good night's sleep. Cheers, Tom, mate. You're a legend. Well done. Mate. Well done. Worked out really well, that.
I love the cheers, Tom, mate, because he just stops and going, I love you. I love you. You're my best friend.
Tom does that for a living. You have a feeling he's like that every night. Because whenever you see him in the morning at 6 a.m, he's always struggling to get up. Now we know why, don't we?
Every show starts with his head coming from
Oh,
one end.
God, not again.
Five, and hammered again.
And Adam's in my bed.
Which two candidates, by the way, would you like to see make the final?
I'd like to see Tom. I think he's a really good all-rounder. Obviously, we don't know what their business concepts are, but I think he's quite strong. And also Nick. I think he's quite a dark horse. And he reminds me of Boris Johnson. He's quite kind of foppish and quite funny. And I'd like to see him get to the end.
Andy, you saying?
I think Nick got chosen, didn't he? He was chosen by the other team to come over, so he's got to be doing quite well at the moment. And I'd like to see Ricky do all right myself.
Sarah?
For me, I think it's Tom and Gabby because they've both got the right amounts of creativeness and they're smart, but they've got their heads screwed on as well.
OK, grand. Now, as for the vote itself, with regard to yourself, Lucy, do you agree with Lord Sugar's decision to fire Jenna?
I don't. I wouldn't have fired Jenna.
Thanks.
I would have fired Stephen, purely on the basis that I can't imagine working with him. I can't imagine Lord Sugar thinking that he could work with him. So I think, yeah, Jenna, you'd have stayed.
Oh, thank you.
Andy?
Well, Dora, I'm a risk taker. And I'm going to take a risk, even though Jenna's in the building, in saying that not deflecting enough of the blame onto Stephen, I think Jenna should have gone, yeah.
OK. Sarah?
I think Jenna should have stayed and I think Stephen should have gone for similar reasons. I think he will do Lord Sugar's nutting if they have to have any much more contact, which makes it really exciting for next week's episode because he's got to put his money where his mouth is. Yeah. Well, his mouth is usually here.
OK, let's throw it to yourselves. Very, very simple. You know, if you agree with Lord Sugar, hold up fired. If you disagree, hold up hired. Oh, that's a pretty solid hired there. Congratulations.
Loving the Northerners, aren't they? Loving the Northerners.
You get cross-Britain support here from the whole thing. Now, as you know, we always like to give a little gift to our candidates before they leave, something we think they'll find useful, something that they'll enjoy, something that should be obvious within their life as they move ahead. And this, for you, we think the most obvious thing was that next time you're up in Scotland, that you could have that. Och, yeah, an expression of surprise, contempt, annoyance, impatience, or disagreement. Och, I, the new, occasionally mispronounced as chochen the nin. That's for you.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you.
Congratulations for making it to week 9, Jenna. Here are your highlights.
Jenna, how does it feel?
I feel like very important.
I got a girl they call a queen of the hop.
Hi! I am witty, charming, high sense of humour. I'm too lovable to be intimidating. I'm up for anything. Yeah? Like that. Are we doing the deal on that? Go. Let's hope it's a win. Let's see who's going to be the Stig after this. We nearly died, but I'm alive. Sterling. Cheers. Yeah, that's about me.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jenna Whittingham. That's all for tonight. Thanks to all my guests. Jenna will be on BBC Breakfast tomorrow morning, and don't forget to go to our website at bbc.co.uk/apprentice for Matt Edmondson's Funny Bits. Next week, the teams have to secure competitive deals at luxury venues, but who'll end up being discounted?
We aim for the higher end of the market.
Is that Thai massage and steam?
Every Tom, Dick and Harry is selling it.
At a discount.
How do they get on?
They drew a blank.
Not even a pound.
Not a fantastic start.
Yeah.
I think that was a whorehouse.
Oh, Jesus, that's horrible. Oh, my God. This is the most passionate I've seen you throughout the whole process. Oh, I feel a bit of pressure.
You should have negotiated for more.
Can't do it.
No. We couldn't do it.
You were running around like headless chickens.
Stop being so condescending.
Oh my God. You lost.
See you next week. Good night.